All right, so what I want to do in this short little video is kind of run through with you the format of the class, like how things work. Now, everything that I'm saying in this video, I included in the text, but sometimes it's nice to get this in different ways, right? To read the text and look at the video here. Also, again, it just makes this class feel a little bit more human, if you will. So this is pretty much what I'd say if we were meeting, speaking of human, if we were meeting face to face, this is pretty much what I'd say. It's a little bit briefer though, because I try to keep these videos at about less than 5 minutes. So if there's still something that isn't making sense or isn't clear, I included a discussion board in the, a question discussion board in the how to navigate this online class. And I really encourage you, if you've got questions, to put them in there. You can certainly send me an email. I don't mind that at all. It's the main way that we're communicating. However, in this instance, I really appreciate if you put questions in that board, because I can guarantee if you've got a question, somebody else has it too. And you're saving me writing 4 different emails, which I don't mind, but I do like to work smarter instead of harder. So if you have a question and you put it there, that'd be really helpful, because I bet somebody else has the same question. So if we were in a regular semester, 15 weeks, a module would open up each week with the lecture, with the do the readings, look at the lecture, submit a discussion board. But we're doing 15 weeks of material in 6 weeks. So we're going to have 2 lecture modules open up each week. So the days that you want to remember for this class is Tuesday and Friday. Every Tuesday, I'm going to open up a module, and it's going to include typically at least 2, sometimes 3 if one of them's a little shorter, but at least 2 lectures. You'll go through that lecture. There'll be my narrative text, my explanation. There'll be some videos to maybe look at, some links to consider, and then there'll be a discussion board. Then on Friday, I'm going to release another module, same thing. So Tuesdays and Fridays, those are the days that you want to remember. And then you've got a week to look over that material, do the reading, answer the discussion board. Now, sometimes there will be an exam or maybe a paper, and on those days there won't be a discussion board. I tried to make it so that you only had one thing at a time to turn in, but I couldn't fit in the extra credit that way. So, and it is extra. So the extra credit you actually will have to, if you're interested in doing that, you're going to be doing that the same day that you're doing a discussion board or something of that nature. Now, I'll release a lecture module on Tuesday, and then you'll have the following Tuesday is when you'll turn in the discussion board. Hopefully you can get done before, but you've got that week. So for instance, on Tuesday, the first module I'm going to release is about Native American women. And the first lecture will be about what Native American women's lives look like before the Europeans arrived. And then the second one, you're going to look at what happens when you get contact. And then you've got a discussion board about Pocahontas, actually, which students last semester told me they really enjoyed. So that will release on Tuesday, and then by the following Tuesday, you're going to want to turn in that discussion board, if not before. On Friday, I'm going to release another lecture module. This one is going to be the English women who come here, and there'll be a lecture on the shift from servitude to enslavement. And then there's a discussion board on that shift that you're going to look at too, but that will be due the following Friday. Now, the reading. The assigned reading in this class is Through Women's Eyes. I sent you an email about that a few days before class started, and you can get any edition of that book. The library also has the 3rd edition on reserve, a digital reserve, and I gave you instructions on how to do that if you're interested. I would really make the reading work for you. And what I mean by that is you could sit down. We're going to roughly do the first chapter the first week. So you could sit down and you could read through the first chapter. And then you could go and look at lecture. That might be how you do it if you were coming to a face-to-face class, right? You'd do the reading before, you'd come to class, we'd have our conversations. You also, though, could do the reading after. You know, if you wanted to, you could, just like you would if you were going to face-to-face class, you could go to class. So in this instance, you could look over the lecture and then afterwards do the reading. You might, though, want to kind of do them together, because at the start of each lecture, I've got an outline. And this is actually, I actually hand this out when we meet face-to-face. Students get a packet that has all the outlines. And the outline is kind of the key points and the key ideas. And then at the bottom of each outline, there are key terms. There's usually at least 4, typically not more than 8. And they're people, ideas, documents, kind of the key ideas of the lecture. And you'll see those. They're at the start of the lecture module. And then you'll see them in bold throughout the lecture itself. So if you have your textbook with you while you're doing the lecture module, sometimes I'll refer to like, hey, there's an image on this page, or there's a map on that page. So that will be handy because you'll have your book right there. The other reason it's handy is when those key terms jump out, right? Then you can also, like, you've got it in the lecture, and then you can look at the book and kind of put the two together. The other thing to think about with those key terms, the reason they matter and why it's also kind of nice to have your book nearby, is those are the basis for the exams, the key terms are. And I'll give you a study guide. Before each exam, you'll have a study guide 2 weeks before the exam. And then you'll have the exam for a week. Now, on the study guide, most of what's going to be on there are those key terms. You've already seen them. The key terms are in the lecture module, and then throughout the lecture module. Most of the key terms are in the book. Some of them you can only get in the lecture module. But then I'm just going to put them on a study guide for you so that you have them there as well. And so again, kind of having your textbook near you when you're working through the lecture module will be helpful in that way too, because you can kind of flag some of those terms. Now, because those terms are the terms that you're using for your exams, if something isn't clear in the lecture, right? If you're going through a lecture, we'll use Pocahontas because I mentioned her already. I think I explained it to you, but maybe like it's my brain, so it makes sense to me, right? But you gotta tell me if it doesn't make sense to you. So as you're reading, let's say Pocahontas in the lecture module, and then you look in the textbook, and you look at the textbook, and you're like, I'm not getting why this matters. You could put that on the discussion board, which would help other students that might be feeling the same. Or you can send me an email, and I will help, work through what it is you need to know about that term. I'm also willing to meet via Zoom. If you want to arrange a meeting, we can do that too. I know sometimes it's easier to communicate this way. So the key, though, is looking at those terms and figuring out, I'm not getting something, and you got to let me know. Since we're not in class, I can't see, your brow furrowed or you raising a hand. So can't say it enough. I'm here to help you. I want you to succeed. I want us to all, at the end of the semester, feel like we got through it together. So stay in communication, send me emails, let me know how I can help. Take care.